You can run, but you cannot hide. Prepare for impact.
I am now authorized to take action.
And now you die.
No!
How are you? Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And thank you for joining me today to talk about Space Wars.
Yes.
Well, tell me about, in the future, according to your movie, death isn't the ending. So tell us about that.
Well, this was this script written by Joe Netter, a wonderful writer. He helped me develop the story on this. I basically, when I approached him about writing this project, I kind of had a certain amount of I wanted to do like an old Ray Harryhausen movie in outer space, a quest sort of adventure. And I kind of already had in mind certain action scenes I wanted to have happen. We were already set on the idea of a father and daughter on an adventure, finding a scientist and the scientist leading them to the treasure of the Deepstar and the competing mercenaries who were going after it. The whole death idea, that was Joe's idea to try and give our characters and I think very successfully, an emotional story arc, because they're on a quest to bring the mom and Michael Pere's wife back. And that becomes the emotional heart of this journey, which is, again, a classic sort of quest adventure.
Well, tell me about the father-daughter dynamic. How important was casting those two roles, and how did you finally come to cast those parts?
Well, we knew we were going to work with those people. That was basically right at the beginning. Executive producer Jeff Miller, who's also a producer on the movie, he knew he wanted to work with Michael Pere on a project, and he asked us to write something that would work for him. And I knew Joe through Sarah French, who was in my previous movie, Automation. So, whenever you're making a really small independent movie like this, you need people you can depend on, and for sure they're just going to get the job done and be great and easy to work with. And those things are so important because you don't have time to waste on a thing like this. And so that's why, we knew we were going to cast Pere, and we knew we were going to cast Sarah because we knew we could count on her too. And we also cast my wife Anahit as Jackie because, again, we knew we could count on her as well. And since they all had a lot of dialogue in the movie, we knew they'd be ready, prepared, and we could just, get it all done. And it worked because this film was shot in 11 days plus 1 day of pickups.
That is amazing. Yeah, that's true guerrilla filmmaking. I love it. But this movie has giant monsters, aliens, laser battles, robots. This reminds me of the movies I saw in the early 80s, like Dark Star, Battle Beyond the Stars, Laser Blast. And, a B movie isn't a bad word either. I don't think it's a bad word. I mean, tell that to Roger Corman or Samuel Z. Arkoff, right?
Yep, absolutely. I'm 100% on your team there. I mean, I am. This is an unapologetic B movie, but it's a B movie with heart, and it has a story, and it moves along, and it's an adventure. I mean, we really wanted to tell a fun story and keep it moving and interesting, and hopefully people will just go with us for this ride.
I'm telling you, it's definitely not Plan 9 from Outer Space kind of special effects. I mean, I was so impressed with your effects in this movie because when you make a B movie independent film, that's where all the money goes, right? Especially in the sets.
Right.
So, but tell me about your effects team. And I mean, everything from the monsters to I was really impressed with this. Is that just because technology is caught up so far now that you can make your film look like $100 million movie?
I think there's definitely a part of that. And also, you really got to have talented artists behind it. Because, again, you can have the technology. I mean, technically, everyone can get a camera. Everyone can have an edit system. Everyone can have a camera, but can everyone shoot a film properly? Everyone can have an edit system, but can they really cut? It's that sort of thing. You still need the raw talent to do it. So, yes, the technology is there. But the guys who did my visual effects, Stephen Clark and Paul Knott, are so talented. And they've been doing work on tons of science fiction, lower budget science fiction movies over the years. and monster movies and killer animal movies and of things of that nature. That, you know, they know how to do this. And I did give them more time. I mean, we had, my post-production took a considerable amount of time. It was like 8 months to a year of working on the film in terms of editing, because I'm my own editor. So I was cutting, I sent the effects guys the first 35 minutes of the movie to see if they'd be interested in doing it. And they signed on immediately, because they're like, this is like the films we grew up on. They like you, they reckon Battle Beyond the Stars, Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, things like that. So they were just really excited about it. And it was just a process, like, you know, oh, here's the asteroid chase, and then here's the robot scene, and here's a new monster scene. And it was like Christmas every time I got new effect shots. I was like, oh my, that looks great. You know, it was so exciting. And we also did a lot of storyboards. Yeah,
that's what I say, a lot of pre-production, because I mean, those sequences were something you just didn't think of. I mean, that took a lot of planning to interact with the actors. And I mean, that it looked like it, a lot of thought went into the effects.
It did. I mean, you know, and it's funny, like some of the storyboarding process would be just me with little chicken scratch drawings coming in and like, okay, Sarah, look over here. There's a monster here and blah, blah, you know, it would be stuff like that. So there were scenes that were done that way. And then there were other scenes where it was like the asteroid chase. That was me and the production designer, Anthony Pierce, sitting down, you know, it was during COVID and we were on Zoom call just like this. And, you know, I describe, okay, the ship is going to do this and that, and he'd draw it. And then, you know, he'd do like very rough sketches. Then he turned them into much more elaborate drawings. And then I would edit with those drawings with my footage. And then we'd get the effects and cut them in. And it just was wonderful. It was magic when you see it all put together.
I agree with you. And also, is this a genre you want to stay in, or your next film, your next project, you want to tackle something else, or do you feel comfortable in the sci-fi action genre?
I want to make the movies I want to see. You know, and these are the kind of movies I want to see. They don't make movies like this, you know, and I'd be perfectly happy. I really admire Ray Harryhausen and Charles Schneer when they were doing all these Sinbad movies. Those were basically independent productions, and they were delivered to a studio, but it was them making those movies. And that's the kind of stuff I want to do. I want to do stuff that's fun and adventurous and fantastic. You know, I love doing things that are not in reality. I mean, you need a core that's human, you know, to take you into this world, but I love movies that just take you away completely. And I think modern movies, a lot of them, again, they're based on existing IPs already. And I enjoy those IPs, but there's a certain point where you just keep going to the same well over and over and over again. I want to see new things. So if no one else is going to make them, I'll make them. I mean, my previous movie was a science fiction movie too. So
well, that's the second time you've mentioned, you know, Charles Schneer and Ray Harryhausen, because I saw all the Sinbad movies first run when I was a little boy. And I saw Golden Voyage of Sinbad, Sinbad and the Eye of Tiger. I mean, those were my movies. And I had the pleasure of meeting Ray Harryhausen. This is 25 years ago at the San Diego Comic-Con. I got to interview with him, and he signed my Golden Voyage of Sinbad insert. So it's one of my most prized possessions. But I've always thought, and maybe you can do this, we need another Sinbad movie in that vein. I mean, they did remakes of Clash of the Titans and Percy Jackson and all that, but we need one of those old-fashioned Sinbad movies, and I think you're the guy to make it.
I appreciate that. It's about having that sense of, you know, pace and adventure and just keeping the movie moving. And you know, we know what we made. This is an independent film. You know, our budget, you know, wouldn't even pay for the catering budget on a couple days on Star Wars, you know, but, you know, everyone put their hearts into it. And it's something which was a joy to make. And it's just an absolute joy. We had we were screening there at the Galaxy Boulevard in Las Vegas, and it was just magic seeing it on the big screen. We played in Beverly Hills and Palm Springs, and now we're on digital, so we're really excited.
I'm so sorry I missed your screening here in Las Vegas, you know, but I was out of town at WonderCon of all places. But now it's on demand. It's coming on demand. So where can people find it now?
Everywhere you can stream movies, Amazon and Vudu. You know, check out the movie. Give us a rating. Reach out to the cast and crew. We're all over social media. We'd love to hear from you, and we really want to make more of these. So
absolutely. You can just see your passion in this. So congratulations. I'm really proud of you guys.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it and review it. And I mean, this is fabulous. This really is a dream. I told my wife, one day while we were on the set making this movie, and, everyone's just busy and we're working. I say, hey, Anahi, we're living the dream right now. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're doing it right now. It's not later. It's not like, something we already did. We're doing it right now. This is it. We're living the dream. And she's like, wow.
And that's what I love. That's what I love about you guys. You made, how many people talk about, I'm going to make a movie someday. I'm going to write one or direct one. I mean, you did one. And not only that, you did one that was almost, big budget space adventure. I mean, it's just, you couldn't do this 20 years ago, so without a budget of ridiculous. So you have a lot to be congratulated on. And if you need a story consultant for the next Sinbad movie, you know how to get a hold of me. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Well, and this was my second movie. I have another one if you want to see it on Amazon Prime now called Automation. That's a killer robot movie.
Ooh, so, I love those. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I definitely want to stay in the sci-fi land. So, and awesome. Fantasy.
All right, I'll get the word out. And thanks for joining me today. And good luck with the movie.
Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much, man. Congratulations.
I really, really appreciate it. That was great.
Oh yeah, no worries.
You liked it. You got into it. Did it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw a little Galaxy Quest. I saw a little bit of everything in there, and that's just awesome. I mean, I just, because when you see movies like this, if it was something made 30 years ago, the strings and that kind of, or the traveling mat, the traveling mat you'd see, and all that. But I was just like, whoa. I mean, I saw the passion you guys put into this movie. It really did. So, and I went to film school, 25 years ago, always wanting to be a writer and director, and I fell into criticism and television. So I never did that. So I know what it takes, because I've been on films like yours before, either acting or crewing or something. So, it was fantastic. You guys did a great job.
No, thanks. Yeah, I've been a trailer editor for many years. That's been my career. I was at Lionsgate for 16 years, and I've cut over 430 trailers. Ooh. My wife and I were trying to make a movie for about 20 years, before we made Automation. And it wasn't that we were spending 20 years trying to make just specifically Automate. We were trying to do other movies, and it just wouldn't happen. And you build, and spend 2-3 years and then it crashed. And you can see how people give up, Oh
yeah, absolutely.
But eventually all those broken pieces came together, and we made that one movie, and it was well received. And it took 20 years of broken dreams to make Automation, and all it took to make Space Wars was automation.
Yeah.
So it's like
proof of concept.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Proof of concept.
Yeah.
So. Well, cool, man. And I'm serious about another Sinbad movie, so we'll talk, okay?
Okay, absolutely.